Yes. I'm back. I'm back. Spiritual fitness. Spiritual fitness. It's the name. It's the podcast. It's the new podcast with me, Eric Bigger, your host, spiritual fitness expert, motivator, coach, and anything that's going to make you feel well, feel high vibe in your true self. I want to get on here today and talk briefly about the name change, the switch, and where I'm at currently with the podcast and everything of the sorts. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful for all the podcast listeners, followers, people who comment, people who follow the Instagram page, who have shared, insights and felt the revelations of all the guests that I've had in the last, 4 or 5 years of Bigger Talks podcast, because that was a podcast for so long. I want to give a shout out to Podcast One. There was the first company to give me my podcast deal in 2018, the summer or fall or winter maybe of 2018. Rest in peace to the founder and owner, Norm Pitts. He gave me my first podcast. My dreams came true. I had 21 episodes with Podcast One years ago. And now, fast forward to 2024. Shout out to the pandemic. Shout out to Omni, who did I believe we did like 10. Omni, who did like 10 episodes with me in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. And then fast forward to the pandemic 2020, I did like 28 episodes. My goal was to do 30, and it was all on Instagram Live. So shouts out to the Scout Agency, who sent me so many phenomenal guests, people, speakers, experts, and everybody who's been on the Bigger Talks podcast over the years. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for your presence. I'm so grateful for your availability, energy at the time we interviewed, and for you to want to be on my show. I was just a kid from Baltimore who wanted to do a podcast. And I did it. It's been grateful. So get into it. I'm not going to be too long. I just want to kind of be more transparent and authentic with the switch and why things have taken place. But here we are. So, like I said again, Bigger Talks podcast was part of the old paradigm of Eric Bigger, right? It was a part of the old me, the me that went on, several reality TV shows. Shouts out to The Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, Winter Games, Match Made for Ken with Viacom, MTV, and all the other things I've done in the TV realm as a TV personality, thought leader, and just brain. I'm really thankful. And over the course of the last 9 years, my life has changed. I've evolved. I've grown, become more aware. I let go of some things, some people, some old ways, some old paradigms to move into a new and improved me, a new and improved Eric Bigger. I wasn't always so fond of saying my name, but here I am saying it with passion and confidence. And so last year, 2023, was a big year for me as far as contrast. I experienced a lot of contrast. It was a year of, my dad was in and out of the hospital. I thought I was going to lose my dad. I was in a relationship that lasted almost a year and a half. That was great until it wasn't. I had to let go of some friends and close associates over the last 5 or 6 months. I had a dark night of the soul, a soul awakening. And I'm new, I'm fresh off of 2 weeks from being in Peru. Shouts out to the Sacred Valley, all the Peruvians and all of Peru and Pachamama. I was on a 2-week plant retreat hosted by my friend Sia Lana Estrella. She's from Australia, and we met. She did my podcast. She's part of the Rainbow Race tablets, all the books she's written. She's a beautiful soul. She's smart. And her guidance, through my cacao ceremony, I spoke briefly on Bigger Talks, led me to go on to Peru to take plant medicine, San Pedro, Wachuma, to open my heart up a little bit even more, to give me more downloads, synchronicities. And prior to going to Peru, shout out to all my clients that I train virtually. They were like, Eric, what you do is more than training. Eric, what you do is more than just physical, like with people. It's more like, spiritual therapy through fitness, right? You're more than a coach. You're more than a leader. And, my client Anna and Devika, I don't know, it came to me, spiritual fitness. And I'm like, okay, that's what I do, spiritual fitness, right? Because when I'm training clients, it's more than just physical, right? We got 40, 45 minutes of physical exercise. I do breath work, I do prayer, I do affirmations, and I'm holding space and open up a container and portal to have a high level conversation while training individuals. In those moments, people are having breakthroughs, people are crying, people are releasing old things, people are getting new ideologies, new intentions, new ideas, new thoughts. And it's from a very spiritual place. And spiritual fitness, in my mind, is like spiritual intelligence through your body. Your body has body intelligence, and we have so much information, so much truth and power within our vessel. And I've discovered the way to use your spirit um, to move your body to become fit in your entire life, mentally, emotionally, physically, financially, to become whole, to come back to the remembrance of who you are. Uh, Moving your body is just, the vehicle that I host the spiritual fitness practice in. It's a way to, I don't want to say manipulate your body, but kind of like, trick your body into a state of movement to get to the spirit of your fitness, of who you are, and what you want in this lifetime. And so I pivot and I said, you know what? Spiritual fitness is a new consciousness, it's a new way of being, it's a new way of training, it's a new way of thinking. And this is going to be something that I introduce to the fitness community to get people to think different about fitness. That fitness doesn't have to be all about vanity, it can be about longevity. Fitness is spiritual. Um, Movement is medicine, right? And teach people how to tap into the spiritual self of themselves to have a better life, to have a better body, to have a better mind, to have a better feeling of who they are. Information changes situation. And when you tap into the spiritual fitness of yourself, you get new information, you get a new life, you get a new ideology, a new identity. You become more aware, you have more revelations, more clarity. And so on the new spiritual fitness podcast, I will be talking of things all spirituality, fitness, well being, uh, mindset, um, anything that's going to improve the psyche, improve the mind, improve the body in such a phenomenal, healthy, effortless way, but an authentic way, a transparent way. So we all can use fitness as a vehicle to change our life in a spiritual way, not so much the physical way. The physical way is just like I said, it's the manipulation to get into the spiritual self of yourself when you're working out, when you're training, right? So the spiritual fitness podcast is going to be a podcast dedicated to those people who want to tap into their spiritual currency, who want to tap into their spiritual intelligence, who want to have a healthy mind, a healthy body, a healthy spirit, a healthy soul, a healthy life. We're going to talk about that on this podcast. We're going to talk about getting your rest. We're going to talk about work-life balance. We're going to talk about setting strong boundaries. We're going to talk about being consistent in your routine. We're going to talk about plant medicine. We're going to talk about spiritual retreats. We're going to talk about hiking and connecting with your ancestors and, forgiveness and letting go of old ways and old paradigms and the old self. So as I continue this podcast and I continue to use all platforms to get out this information, I need you to help me, help you, help us, help everyone getting this name out by supporting the podcast, subscribing, sharing it, commenting, going to YouTube and connect with me. Give me some opinions. If you have some guests that you think would be great for a spiritual fitness podcast, let me know, DM me, follow me on Instagram. I'm going to create a whole new, brand behind spiritual fitness in the podcast with new, sayings and websites, all the things that's going to fit the embodiment of spiritual fitness. And I want people to get the true fitness of their soul because everybody is different. And one thing doesn't fit all people, but everybody has a spirit. Everybody can become fit and everybody can have more awareness than they have now to become a fulfilling, a phenomenal person in their life, no matter where they are, no matter what they have. So, Spiritual Fitness Podcast is going to be a phenomenal podcast in the health and wellness space, health and well-being, entrepreneurship, fitness, spirituality, philosophy, and we're going to talk about all the things that's going to keep your spirit fit, keep your body fit, keep your mind fit, and keep your life fit. And with that being said, I just want to say thank you. Subscribe to this podcast, share this podcast, spread the news, let everybody know. It's Eric Bigger. Spiritual fitness is the new name. the podcast, a new consciousness, a new frequency to heal and change the dynamic of the fitness community. And forever and always, it's miracle season. Go get you some merch. It's miracleseason.co. Shouts out to Simplify Impact, who does all my marketing. Reach out to them, click the link, and see what they're about so they can help you scale your podcast and your visibility on all social platforms. So I'm thankful. I appreciate all you guys for tuning in every week, every Wednesday, listening to Bigger Talks podcast, Nana Spiritual Fitness podcast. And we're going up and we're going onward to a whole nother phase, dimension, and new consciousness with spiritual fitness. That's all. That's it. I love you guys. Sending love and gratitude your way. Thank you for listening. Thank you for receiving my messages, my words, and my podcast. Thank you for all the support. Have a beautiful week. Talk soon. Peace and love.